Okay, so did you guys see the I posted the video review of Piaget and Vygotsky, chapters 9 and 10. Yes, that was one that I recorded when I was much younger and better looking. I had short hair back then, but still still the material's great. We'll tell you um full disclosure, Vygotsky is one of my favorites. Um which is weird if you had to fanboy for a psychologist, but that's my guy. Um But and actually what's cool is the word his name, Lev. Lev is a Hebrew word that means heart. What a great, thing for somebody who's a psychologist. Um, so I think uh it makes the most sense to talk just a minute or two about Piaget and Vygotsky before we get into our connections. Okay? So um Piaget was very vague in when he talked about things, and he kind of the things that he was not vague about were ages that things should happen, but then the things that he said should happen were vague. So it's good for some stuff, but to me, Piaget just makes a whole lot more sense because Piaget takes into account that we are social learners. Did I say Piaget? I meant Vygotsky. Vygotsky takes into account that we're social learners. Piaget is more of a solitary, you're going to learn this on your own. And listen, that works for people, but look at you guys. You are all an example of Vygotsky because you don't have to be here. You could be doing this in a solitary environment all by yourself, but you're not. You're social learners, and you learn better when there's other people with you. Um, a lot of us are like that. I'm like that. Um, Sometimes just hearing something or being present for something, when we talk about active and passive participation, I remember hearing about how important it was to have students as active participants in your class and this and that. And I thought, well, if every kid in my class is an active participant, we also need to be taking in the material. So, I mean, I think that there is a good balance between active and passive participation, but all of those things are a social interaction. Amber, you're shaking your head. Yeah. Are you in agreement or disagreement? Because if you're in, okay, by the way, it is totally okay to disagree with me. Lots of people do. Um, but okay, so getting back to Vygotsky, Vygotsky also takes into account cultural factors. There are cultural norms that if you in your school uh, teach a population other than white America, which that's very rare these days, that you are only teaching white America. We're of much more diverse school populations in most, at least in our state. There's a lot of it, a lot more diversity out there. Um, you know that the cultural norms can be different. The way that you teach a Hispanic student with eye contact is different than the way that you teach a white kid. The way that you teach an African American student with eye contact and proximity is different than it is a Asian kid or a Hispanic kid. And those are parts of the things that Vygotsky brings into his theories that to me make so much more sense. So, with that being said, let's get to Deb Roy because this, as I told you guys before we started this, my favorite TED Talk uh, of this class was that one that you guys had for this week. So, I have a set of questions here, and in a moment, we're going to break into some rooms and discuss some of the questions that I've got. But before we get to that, what was your just jumped out at you? Am I a total dork for saying how great I thought it was, or did you agree with me on some of that? I don't know. Ricardo, I
I
see you got your hand up.
yeah, I thought it was really cool. First, how they like did the 3D mapping of their home, and
Mhm.
then when he also showed like how their interactions, like the interaction pools with the lines. And I thought it was cool that I never thought that how proximity to your kid actually helps them like talk. I know that it does, but actually when I saw the lines and saw how they mapped it out, I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize just how intertwined you really are, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it is very impressive that he's an MIT professor. MIT is not known for their behavioral sciences, but the technology that he had available to him to do that study probably wouldn't have been available to somebody at, say, Harvard, where they are better known for their behavioral sciences. Um, anyway, very cool, Ricardo. Anybody else have something that jumped out at them? Rebecca?
I was just like, oh God, sorry, Rebecca. I jumped in front of you. Sorry. Okay. I was just gonna say that it was like mind blowing to see the data visually and what it created. And as an artist is just kind of
It's pretty, isn't it?
like it, yeah, and it's fascinating that somebody would even understand how to read that. And it reminded me, and Jessica, I don't know who the artist was, but at the high that when they had that exhibit with like the big screens in the room and you just sat there and it was data from just like a day or whatever. I mean, it was like at times it was very overstimulating, but it was all just visual data of just like, conversations or things happening or things on on video and things like that. So it was just kind of I was kind of captivated by the fact that this guy was able to kind of sort through all this data, not just visually, but also like the sound.
Hmm.
It's just kind of cool.
Very cool. All right, Rebecca.
I was just amazed at the idea. Like, who comes up with that? That you're just going to put cameras all over your house and track language. That is such a bizarre thing. And the video he made of the house, that was creepy. I mean, it was really cool, but like, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
crazy that you're tracking in he could look up every word. And it would almost be funny to see, like, if they ever said a cuss word, like, that would be kind of funny, um, and see where they were saying that. Like, "Are
Hmm.
you cussing in the kitchen?" But, no, I thought that that was
Most
so cool,
likely.
and yeah, and to hear the little kid say "water," and then he was like, "Water," at the end, or like, "Water," at the end, that was so cute,
Hmm.
um, but, yeah, seeing the lines, like Ricardo was saying, the red line and the green line, and then tracking that, that was fascinating, um, that was probably one of the best TED Talks I've seen too, as far as just, like, um, the the I don't wanna say bandwidth, but, like, the thinking, like, that you thought to do this and you have collected all this data from just, like, this weird place in this dude's head, like, how did you come up with this, like, linear time, words, where they're associated, who's saying what next to what? I mean, it just blew my mind. And then to go into the media portion of it,
Hmm.
it was almost like a little too Big Brother, but it was I mean, it was cool. It was very cool.
It, I agree that it is very Big Brother, but he did it himself. It wasn't like we were going in to do it.
Right.
Seth.
I thought it was also fascinating, and to me, it got a little bit. I felt like it started to get a little bit over my head at the end when he was doing all the different lines and everything else. But to me, as he started doing the ratings and kind of like watching like the Obama talk and all the people were watching, it almost felt like a new version of Nielsen rating and what people are seeing and watching and thinking while they're doing that. So maybe a new level of that or a more in-depth version of that. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so would you say, and this can be thrown out to anybody, would you consider this study to follow along the lines more of Piaget or Vygotsky?
I would say Piaget in my mind.
Okay. What makes you say Piaget?
Um, I guess the behavior portion of it. Like, um, I, I don't know. I guess okay, so like, uh, you've got these emerging skills,
Right?
and you've got the kid organizing this in his mind,
Hmm.
and then you've got I don't I yeah, I mean, I guess it can really kinda go either way, but to me, well, then, no, because you've Yagotsky, he's a social learner, so maybe it goes with that. I don't know, this is crazy. But yeah, like, I feel like Vygotsky is more of a social interaction person, so maybe it's him. I don't know. Now I've changed my mind because
Okay.
Piaget would think learning is solitary. So yeah, I would go Vygotsky.
I
I've
now I
changed my mind.
which is totally acceptable to do. I was thinking Vygotsky as well, and the part that jumps out to me that is this the social interaction within the family, but also the cultural. It's a multi-generational home. So there, the child learned a lot from grandparents. Um, and that's pretty cool. Um, and then the other stuff, the data analysis piece is, that's just next level. That really not a whole lot to do with the psychology as much as it is to justify the science. Um, but just real quick to my art teachers, there's something that I heard of recently that kind of falls in line with this, called genomic mapping. Have you seen this kind of art? They they take
I've seen it. I don't know if it's the same thing. I'm thinking if it's genomic, I'm sure it has to do with genes maybe, but I've seen other artists who use data to create stuff. Like there was an artist who uses weather patterns and weather data to
Yeah,
create these giant like sculptures and like woven things.
yeah, it's I don't know the name of the artist, but they took like I think DNA samples, and they mapped that individual human genome, not perfectly, but the DNA, so each piece of art is unique to that person, which is kind of cool. Um, and when in this TED talk, when he was talking, when they show the layout of where the conversation's happening, and if you ever need a reason to have your kitchen redone, you can show this to whoever it is that would help you make that happen, and say, listen, most of this conversation of language acquisition's happening right here in the kitchen, so it needs to be nice, right? Is that the art I'm talking about, Jennifer?
I just looked up genome art, and I mean, there's just different. It all kind of has the same. You can't see it in here, and I'm awful at this. Well, whatever. Maybe is it like just? Yeah, I think it is. How does it work? I don't understand it.
Um, Listen, I read about it in Dan Brown's new book. So, Secret of
I like
Secrets.
Dan Brown.
Oh yeah, man, it's a good book. But it struck me, and I was like, okay, what is that? And so of course then I had to look it up, and I did exactly what y'all are doing right now, and looked up, like different examples of what it was. But the whole idea of a
It's cool.
personalized piece of art, unique to you, is very cool.
Hmm.
Um, all right, here's what I would like to do. I've got 6 questions. I'm going to share this note with you, and I've not done this before. So there's a chance I'm going to screw this up. So be ready. I'm sharing to the meeting. Okay. So you should get a note. Do you see a note from me? Okay, cool. On that note, there are 6 questions. If you are in room one. You're going to do there's two question ones. You'll do those in your conversation. In room two, you'll do question two. Room three, question three. Okay, there's two of each question. What I'm hoping we can get is some engaging conversation out of this, and then I will bring us back together and we will have our champions explain what they got from those questions. Sound good? Okay, I'm going to start by saying I'm going to give us 5 minutes. And if it ends up that you are deep in conversation at 5 minutes, I will let us continue further. And if we're not deep in conversation, we'll just get back together and we'll talk about what we got to talk about. All right. So that being said, breakout rooms are open. And here we go. Let's see here. Wait, I did something wrong. I remember when I told you I was going to do something wrong? I did. Hold on. Let's close all rooms and let's try this again. Okay. Three. So I'll let participants choose their own room. And here we go.
Where's the notes? Where are these notes?
Let's see. I'm going to open the rooms. I can copy and paste it in the conversation as well.
Will
And
it delete the conversation when we go to a different room, though?
I don't know. But you can tell me when we get there. If it does,
Okay.
I'll breeze over it with you. Hold on. Let's see.
Okay.
I'm copying right now. And I'm posting it in the group chat. Okay. All right. Does everybody see that? I'm going to open the rooms now and let's rock and roll. It's not letting you join? Well, geez. Okay. Let's see.
I found them in more, like at the
Okay.
bottom, the little
Got it.
icon that says more.
Cool, cool. All right. So yeah, you should be able to join whichever room you want now, either room one, two, or three.
Which room is what again?
Question one is room one. Question two is room two. Question three is
Oh,
room
okay.
three.
I thought, sorry. Cool. Where did it go?
How do you choose a room? I'm not seeing a room.
Okay, which one do you want? I can assign you to one.
I don't care. Surprise me.
Okay, I'm gonna put you in room two. Oh, hey.
Hi, we're working on getting our questions up. Because
Okay.
Seth was the man and he like did the copy thing and
Yeah.
all right, here it is. Somebody want to read it like out loud?
I will. Deb Roy begins his talk by suggesting, imagine if you could record your life, everything you said, everything you did, available in a perfect memory store at your fingertips. So you could go back and find memorable moments and relive them, or sift through traces of time and discover patterns in your own life that previously had gone undiscovered. Would you want to do this? If yes, what would you hope to recall or discover? If no, why not?
Yes. I'm ADHD. I forget everything.
I think it would be a yes for me as well, mostly so that I could relive the good times and maybe not have to watch some of the bad times. But like Sarah was saying, I would love to remember some things better about some great moments in time by watching them again.
I think it
Very
would be really
true.
cool if you could, like, as far as like spending time with people that's passed on. I think that would be amazing and just getting to relive some of your favorite memories. But then again, I kind of feel like if we were supposed to remember everything, we would. So I don't know. I definitely think it was really cool, and that TED Talk was amazing.
Much of a difference when a kid comes to school in kindergarten who
Hmm.
has been talked to at home. Like we've seen, because I teach first grade and I'm letters trained, which is all about the science of how the brain learns to read. And kids are coming to school with like a 300 word deficit now because they don't have that conversational turns at home because parents are looking at a phone or they're looking at a phone and people don't talk to each other anymore. And kids pick up that language by hearing it, and each turn in conversation reinforces that in their brain. Like it is absolutely fascinating to me.
Do any of you have teenagers?
Two of them.
Okay. When they get together with friends and they sit on the couch, do they text each other?
Sometimes, but they're pretty good about talking to each
Are they?
other.
I thought that, so my daughter when she was a teenager was I mean, it was the weirdest thing. Like she'd have her friends over and they would just sit there and text each other. I was like, but she's right there. Your friend's right there. Uh,
It's just cooler when you, I guess, because you have the phone, so it's just like I don't know, just something different to do.
It's so ingrained in them. That's just how they communicate. It drives me nuts.
mhm.
Well, I was thinking about the Dolly Parton initiative for
Oh,
reading.
love it.
How, like, if you read to your child, and
Yeah.
obviously, so they're hearing other words that you might not normally see in your house. But I've also heard that to increase vocabulary, you should not talk like a baby to your baby. You should just speak like an adult or whatever.
That's not necessarily for vocabulary, though. That's more for speech.
Right. Well,
Like,
that's true.
and
Yeah.
when you're speaking to a baby, you always want to use a subject and a verb. You don't want to just use one, like just nouns. You want to put an action with it.
Yeah, because
Dr.
context is so
Rosner, do you know
important.
who Emily Rubin is? Dr. Emily Rubin, do you know who she is?
I don't know.
She's a neuroscientist with the Marcus Center in Atlanta.
I know the
And
Marcus Center.
yes, when I did my autism endorsement in college, I got to meet her.
Okay.
That's my fangirl moment. And she's the one who taught us all about that and how eye contact makes a difference because it sets off all of the connections in your brain to release like the dopamine. And so it gives you a high, that connection with people. And so that further cements language in your brain. Like
Yeah.
it's, this
Physical proximity.
wheelhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All that stuff. Do you know Brenda
Fascinating.
Fitzgerald?
Mm-mm.
Okay. She does the complete reading series. She's an old friend of mine. At one point, I don't know how much she's doing these days because she is a good bit older than me. At one point, like everybody had taken one of her professional developments, but
Is
uh,
it whole language?
no, it was what was it called? Um, I can't even think of it anymore. Um, it was a big deal for a while there, with reading.
The pendulum kind of swings, but thank
Yeah,
you
it does. I know.
on the
I know.
phonics side of things rather than whole language.
Right. I'm actually a big fan of whole language, but
Are
I
you?
am.
What are your reasons for that?
Well, I think that with kindergarten, they should use their kindergarten spelling and their kindergarten words and then learn the rules as they're going,
Gotcha.
you know? But but again, that's my opinion. I'm gonna run into my next room here and let you guys continue. You guys are kicking butt. Keep going.
Oh gosh. Hey David, we lost the questions, but we've answered like the first one because we remembered the first one. So this one.
Awesome.
Um, but I was gonna say because we were talking about surveillance, kind of, because Carla was showing us that she has a camera in her room.
Yeah.
Um, and
The same.
and we're doing like district assessments this week, and apparently like there's Google glasses. I didn't know this, but there's Google glasses that record stuff,
Yes.
and they have to take those from the kids
Yes,
because
as
they
well
can
as
record.
watches.
I was I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Like,
That
are
was
you
something
kidding
we
me?
ran into last year, and I teach at an elementary school, like a very low
Hmm.
income elementary school, but we had students that had smart glasses.
Oh
Mhm.
God, I can't
Yeah.
can't with that. Yeah, they were talking about like they were just having like a lot of cheating issues.
Hmm.
And I was like, really? You guys are having cheating? Because I mean, they're high school kids and they're going to cheat, but it's not. I mean, I've been at schools where I'm like, oh, yeah, they cheat. But this high school is kind of, I don't know, different. But yeah, apparently they have those. They got to take those from them. And yeah, I'm
Well,
like,
I mean, they really should take anything that can connect to the internet because that's an
yeah,
actual source. Um, all right, let
that's
me read you
crazy.
guys your question, okay?
Okay.
And we can go from there. All right, so the first one that you guys had was in order to probe the engagement properties of public media content, which fits in with what you're saying. Roy and his colleagues are collecting and analyzing about 3 billion social media comments each month. Roy says they're even able to identify key people who seem to exert a lot of influence over what other people watch on TV and say online. What do you think of this? Is that cool or creepy? And why?
Oh, geez, that is just creepy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
creepy. And I mean, on one, I don't, it's just creepy. I think that's just like too much. Um, that's just too much to know.
Yeah. Well, and it can also, when you have information like that, you can use it for nefarious purposes. So,
I mean,
Yeah.
also, I know that in one of the images where they were showing that, where they were collecting media, like one of the shows that kind of like stood out on there was the Jersey Shore. And it just made me laugh because I was like, of course, like, of course, that would be one that would be like high, like a peak in the
Right.
landscape or whatever, like those kinds of shows.
yeah.
Because I just, oh, did you ever see the movie, Idiocracy?
One of my favorites.
Oh my gosh, that movie made me so mad. I
It was
can't ever
supposed
watch
to.
it again.
It was supposed to. It's, you mean water like in the toilet?
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
gosh. Yeah. I can't. I can't. I'm just always like, this is exactly what we're living. This is
hmm
exactly what we're living. Because the majority of people, that's what they watch, and that's what they believe real life is. And
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I'm outnumbered by people who watch. Hey, listen, I do watch my Real Housewives of Miami. I mean, I'm from Miami, so like I get a kick out of that. That is like my guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
But
All right, let me give you one more here. How does the concept of scaffolding as it relates to the zone of proximal development apply to any of the following programmatic themes? And then there was a list that I didn't include on there. Um, so we'll just leave it with how does the concept of scaffolding as it relates to zone of proximal development apply just in general to different things you might do. Sorry, I'm looking over here because I moved this over to this screen and now I can't get it back.
do you mean in reference to what we saw in the video or just in general?
No, just the concept of scaffolding and the zone of proximal development. So like how would that relate to language acquisition? How would that relate to just movement, physical, emotional, any type of sensory thing?
I mean, couldn't you say that you've got to learn to walk before you can run?
You could say that.
Um, so I think like scaffolding and the proximity, I think it just kind of forms a foundational place for learning to continue to build, for you to continue to build on. Um, like your memory and what you're learning, like you build on those concepts, right? Like so
Mhm.
you there's certain concepts, and sometimes like we pulling prior knowledge, we're trying to like
Mhm.
build a ladder to a higher level of thinking. Why are
Yeah,
you laughing?
that's what scaffolding is. Building.
Um, I guess figure out what they can do by themselves first.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's real quick zone of proximal development, right? There's in the middle of it is this is stuff I can do on my own. And then just outside it's this is stuff I can do with some help. And then you can go even further out. This is stuff that I can do, but you're probably going to have to do most of it and guide me. And then it goes all the way out to there's no way I'm getting this, right? So it is okay to be in different levels of that, is what Vygotsky is saying. And he also
Hmm.
doesn't put it in with when you're 5, you should be here. And he, kind of goes along with what Marie Montessori says, in that, you can get to different levels at different ages based on your own personal life experience. Um, so which is why going into zone of proximal development, we've had students when I taught elementary school who could read in kindergarten on a 5th grade level, but they could not comprehend on a 5th grade level, right? As a 50 something man, I can read fluent Hebrew. I cannot speak fluent Hebrew, nor can I understand a lot of the words that I'm reading. I've read the book enough times that I can tell you what it says, but again, that's just based on experience. So I would not be in the center, according to Vygotsky, when it comes to my Hebrew knowledge. So hope that makes sense. All right,
Yeah,
what I'm going
yeah.
to do now is I'm going to go give everybody a 1 minute warning. So figure out who you want to have, talk about the stuff, and we'll regroup shortly. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Parents were golf maniacs.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Wow.
Who's a
What?
golf
So did
maniac?
your parents go golfing a lot? Like what? Like there's got to be more of a story to that, Sarah.
They watched golf. They went golfing all the time. My dad's not a football dad. He's a golf dad. Most of the portraits that were in the house, or like most of the artwork on the walls, was like photos of golf courses, stuff like that, just normal things.
Yeah, well, no wonder that was your first word.
It was an obsession. That's amazing. I love that.
Now, do
Well, I
you
never had
play?
kids, but I had a parrot, and I know when the first time I heard her talk, I was just like a proud little mama. I was so excited. So it's kind of cool with a parrot, just the fact that they could even talk. Kind of, I mean, I know it's not the same, but
It's pretty
I
much.
squealed. Yeah, it
It's great.
is. I
My
did.
bird, when we had my bird, my grandmother was living with us, and my bird learned to scream my mom's name from
Oh
like,
my gosh.
she'd be like, Kay, Kay. Gosh, my grandma.
Awesome.
I love
That's funny.
like when you see kids say something that like their parents clearly, and you can exactly say who taught them.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
mine was like my famous sentence was, I don't have time for that. And like my mom's like, oh, your dad, or like, or there's a little sweet 4-year-old that goes to our church, and he like, or two, no, I'm sorry, he's like 2 or 3, but he like will say things like, one moment I'm busy. I'm like,
Oh my
okay.
gosh. That's funny.
It's all your dad.
Yeah, buddy.
But I love that. I love that's so fun.
What's bad is when they say like racist stuff at school, and it's like, oh,
Or
I never
political
taught you that.
stuff, or
Mm.
Yeah, that's kind of where my mind went, especially with the election. They came in, and I'm like, oh dear God, no, 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 no.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
we're not going
Listen to elementary school kids tell you who they're voting for.
Oh yeah.
right.
It's it's
Yeah.
really, really a fun conversation.
Oh yeah, it's
Why?
one I choose to ignore.
I don't like the other guy. He's orange.
Yeah.
Like little things like that where you're just like, oh my God, help us.
Oh, that
Listen,
is
I'd
There's not
rather
much
hear
time.
that than, when they're completely regurgitating what their parents
oh yeah,
to them.
Hmm.
You're like,
yeah.
well, okay, I see that's how you feel, or do you?
You sure she's not in here?
Yeah. Well, good. All right. So what I'm going to
Outside.
do, I've got one more room I've got to get into, and I want you guys to figure out who is going to be your speaker. Okay.
Got it.
All right.
Got it.
Not it.
Got it.
Look good.
Jessica.
Oh, hey.
Hey, are we?
Hey, what's up?
We
Well, are you guys about ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were just
Do you know
chatting.
who's going to be your speaker?
I can
Ricardo.
speak. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I am going to close all rooms and we're going to get everybody back together. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
okay?
Perfect.
Thanks, Evan.
You bet.
Room two, you were having a party, man. That was full. Unmute, David, unmute.
Hey, look at that. Okay, good. You guys didn't hear the stuff I said about room two. Whew. All right. So our first question, who would like to be our advocate or speaker for that one? All right, Jessica.
Okay, so our group kind of had mixed views on this. Uh I feel like about ha two, three people, mainly two, were like they probably wouldn't want to go back because they felt like their memory was kind of really good and that sometimes their memory would cause them to like overthink things. And so sometimes just learning to let things go. But then I mean, it was we kind of went back and forth. A lot of people were like, it would be really cool to go back and like to those really special moments and be able to see those things. Um, and so, yeah, but we talked a lot about that. And we talked a lot about language development and like how um, kids when they're saying their first words and parrots when they're saying their first words and how important that is.
You said parrot, by the way,
I
not
got some
parent.
looks there.
Parrot.
Parrot, a
Mhm.
parrot, not parents. Yes. So it was a really good conversation.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And just as a quick recap for that, the question was if you could um be able to play back memories, would you or would you not? Right? Well, like he
Oh,
did.
one thing we did talk about that I felt was really cool too. I forgot this part until now, but like the how we talked about emotion and how like the people it was interesting like both the people that were like, "Hey, I don't know if I would want to go back." They were like they also confessed that they had a lot of more emotions
Mm.
connected to their memories. And so like I thought that was interesting too because that kind of goes with the book and what we've been reading. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we definitely attach stuff to our emotions. Okay. So that was our first question, and let's get over here to our second question. So somebody from room 2.
Hey, so yeah, for us, we were focusing on feedback loops and just details about the patterns that we saw. And we all agreed that the patterns were very like circular, especially when they were like sitting down and then when they would move to the window and it just very circular patterns. And something that we also noticed was the patterns between the adult and the kid were kind of similar. So I feel like it just shows like that kids pick up on how you're behaving because they're watching you. So not only do they listen to your language, but also your behavior as well. And they watch your behavior as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, okay, I know I've got some linguists in here, yes? Some people who are really big into language. Okay. So, Amber, what is the con is a root word, meaning what? Did you say with? That's correct. Uh, converse, right? So when we talk about conversation, it literally means with verse, right? Um, so it is an interplay, and it's very cool, regardless of the age. Um, conversation can exist, or the species. Somebody had mentioned they had a parrot. Um, although a parrot generally doesn't. Jennifer, does your parrot come back with original thought?
No, she's actually passed away, but yeah, but no, she does not. She
Yeah,
just sounded like a little baby.
yeah.
It
I've
was sweet.
never had a bird, but I always
I had
wanted
her
to.
for 27 years and
Oh
she just
my
died
word.
unexpectedly. It was like, oh, it was brutal. I still can't watch her videos. Not there
Oh.
yet. It's been like 3 years now, and I'm like, nope.
Mm.
It's too much a part of me gone. So,
Yeah. Now I had a cat once that lived to be 20.
oh wow.
Yeah, I will never have another cat. I really don't know why I got the one I had, but I kind of got stuck with her, and she was my best buddy for 20 years. Um, and I would tell people if I could go back in time and meet my 22-year-old self, I would have said, don't get a cat. But I did, and she was with me until I was in my 40s. Um, but no, we've always been dog people in my family. But Jessica's got that cute puppy. Yep. All right. So, question 3. Who is our champion on question 3?
It was me.
Okay,
Um,
then.
can you refresh my memory on that question?
Yes,
It
I
was
can.
about like the this well, we were talking about surveillance, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, the question read something along the lines of if you could do that, to notice trends and stuff, social trends and things like
Oh,
that,
right.
and influencers, is it
Yeah,
cool
we
or is it
we ended
creepy?
up we kind of agreed that it was kind of creepy that they were able to map out or see all these comments and everything about like on social media and like pick up patterns like that. I just think that's like too much information. I don't know, and I think I mentioned in the video we saw at one point like the landscape that this data created, and when he was talking about the media, the one show that I could see was the Jersey Shore, which
Hmm.
is like this silly reality TV show that is obviously not reality, and the fact that it was like a bigger peak. And then I got to thinking about like that's kind of disturbing to know that information and to know that like a lot of people are watching this kind of stuff. But I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I'm like, well, do we really need to know that information? And what purpose would that serve? Is it going to be like is attention going to be focused on people that make comments in a certain manner and like influence people? Are they going to be like watched more? Or I don't know. We live in a day and age now where there's just surveillance everywhere. Carla has a camera in her classroom. Um, and then I was talking about Google smart glasses that we have to take from kids before testing. And, just there's so much surveillance and so much like watching that I just feel like there's this, I can't help but feel like there a sense of control over our lives in that way.
Yeah. So I believe I probably told you guys on day one, we are a school that is data rich and information poor, right? And when I say a school, I'm talking about a collective, right? We have data on everything, not just in school. Have you ever noticed if you're talking about a particular thing, all of a sudden Amazon comes up with a link to where you can get it? Or your Google search, even though you haven't searched it yet on Google, will come up with,
Yes.
okay, well,
Creepy. I hate it. Sorry.
right. Well, you're not wrong. But that's the world we live in. Did you ever see the show The Blacklist? When the I don't remember the guy's name, but they show you like all of the cameras all over the world and how they are recording things nonstop. Um, and they are. And it again, just and when I was a technology specialist for Forsyth County Schools for 8 years, and I would tell, teachers and kids like just because I can do it doesn't mean I'm going to. And believe me, I don't want to because that's more work for me, right?
Yeah, but you don't want to. But we also live in a world where
You're
people
correct.
do.
You're correct. Um, but so to give you an idea about just like with Chromebooks, most of our schools have Chromebooks or iPads or some type of one-to-one accessibility. Maybe not all the time, but the availability. Um, you can on a Chromebook, if you have the right, software on there, I could go on to and see the screen of every Chromebook in my building. It's 1,500 Chromebooks. I could go on and I could type a message to one child and say, quit doing this thing, which I did. But I wouldn't just be searching for that. I would have a teacher go, I think he's looking at such and such a thing. And, and I would either show the teacher how to do it, which is what I preferred to do, or if it was a less experienced with technology teacher, I might go on myself and do it for them. But again, it's just knowing, yeah. The one we used was, oh gosh, I can't even remember right now. Um, security. Is it security or securify?
Purely.
Securely. Okay. Um, yeah, ours was Chrome something another. Um, but again, I've blocked all that out of my memory when I retired. Um, But I was able to just for free, by the way. I had a kid send a message to another kid. She had taken somebody's login information and then gone on the server and sent a whole bunch of mean messages to kids in the class. But it looked like it was from another kid. So for free, I was able to track the source, the IP address that it came from, because I had the time that those messages were sent because they were time stamped. I tracked the IP address. I went to find my IP. I put it in Google Earth, again, still for free, and I could pull up that child's house and zoom in, and you could see the house that sent those messages. You want to talk about feeling freaked out over something? That'll get you. At some point between now and the next time I see you, plug your address into Google Earth and zoom in. It's wild, man. It's wild to see the footprint that you already have on the world, whether you realize it or not. But knowing that that's there. And so, yeah, I have my very best friend, his son is 4 years old now. He became a dad at 47 years old for the first time. He has one child. He's 51 years old. Um, yeah. And Ryan is the coolest kid you'll ever meet. Um, but again, his parents are both very, very intelligent, and they spend a whole lot of time talking to him. They said from the beginning, they were like, well, we are not posting our child's face on the internet anywhere. So they put a smiley face over him whenever they share a picture. And he's my best friend. Um, and I wanted to tell him that that doesn't matter, but you know, he does what he does. I said, hey man, nobody's going after your 4 year old. But if you can put it on, you can also take it off. And people who cover up their cameras, have you seen people do this? I'm sure you have. Do you know how a camera works on your computer? Heat signature. Right. That's right, Sarah. It's a heat signature. So somebody who's looking through your camera isn't necessarily looking at your face. They're looking to see if there is a person there. That's it. And you can put tape over it, but they don't care what you look like. They're listening to what it is that you have to say. And just the fact that you're giving a heat signature tells them that you're there. Hey, are you freaked out yet? But that's
I think it like messes with your head. You
it
know what I mean?
does.
Like it messes with your head. Like it just, cause there's a certain, that there's a camera and that they're watching, and you kind of, at this point in our lives, like I know that there's nothing I could do. Like there's a camera everywhere. Um, and yet, like it just kind of, yeah, exactly, Seth, like this big brother conversation. But there's so many people who still like do really bad things knowing that they're gonna get caught because it's like all watched. Or it's kind of like a comfort thing to put the tape on the camera thing just to kind of feel better about it. Your friend, it's probably, like I feel better if I didn't put my kid on there, right? Like maybe he'll
Mhm.
show up in some other things. And I remember that was the thing when my school, the policy for like if you didn't want your kids in pictures
Oh yeah.
changed to now we don't send the papers home to get signed. Now it's if the parent doesn't want the pictures, they have to sign, request the paper or whatever. Like it flipped
Mhm.
because we're just done. We're done for.
It's everywhere, man. Ricardo.
Yeah, so two things. It is weird, and there's been moments where I have been thinking about something, and all of a sudden it's on my Instagram feed like a movie I wanted to watch. Like I just thought to myself, I want to watch that movie, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing clips of it, and I'm like, okay, maybe 5G's reading my mind or something. I don't know, but this conversation is kind of reminded me of a Black Mirror episode where people had something happen. They got like a surgery, so you record everything with your eyes,
I
so
remember that
nobody
one.
could actually get away with anything. Um, yeah, I feel like it's gonna get to that point, truthfully, where some type of technology is gonna be out there where it's like we're the ones gonna be recording everything. So yeah.
Well, you can buy my Piedmont University tinfoil hats, uh,
Okay.
campus bookstore. Um,
Does it come in red or
oh, for
no?
you it does,
Okay.
sure.
Thanks, man.
And I already knew you were going to ask that, so of course it does. Um, um, anyway, it's crazy, and anybody in here who is over the age of probably like 35 will attest that we are so grateful that there was no record keeping of the stuff we did when we were younger. I would have gone to jail or worse. I don't know. And it wasn't because I was trying to do anything stupid. I just did stupid things. Um, yeah, Seth. Ask Gary Gribble. He can tell you stories. Um, but no, I mean it's crazy because there was, a a lot different world that we grew up in than the world that our kids grow up in. When my children were little, I wanted to make sure that I was outside when they were outside. I wanted them to stay in the yard. I wanted, or in the cul-de-sac. And that wasn't the case when I was a kid. It was dinner's at 6. Now get out of the house. And you didn't come home until dinner time because if you did, you got sent back out. Or if you did come home before then, you brought in one of your buddies who you were playing with, and they were just going to come have snacks with you. And they don't do that anymore. They call it a play date. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. We could, you take your bike or walk or whatever. Um, but again, it's a different world now, and that's okay. We have to be able to adjust to that. But I mean, I think right now, just knowing that yes, anything you do is being archived some way or another. And I'm using the term archived instead of recorded because recorded would imply that somebody's going to watch the recording. I can tell you, I have been recording my classes that I teach for Piedmont University for 8 years. And if you look at the number of views on them, I can tell you, people aren't watching. It's okay. The people who need to watch are watching. The people who don't need, it's not like there's a fan club out there that's going, God, I wonder what Krosner's talking about. Let me dig in there. They're not. I'm not that interesting, you know? And some of you maybe are, but if you want to believe that about yourself, then you also have to give yourself the fear that people are paying attention, you know? Um, so anyway, big rabbit hole. Back to Deb Roy. Um, very, very cool study that he did. It brings up, and the crazy thing is, this study was done a long time ago. So I think it's about 15 years ago that he did this. Think about how much better all the technology is now, and how much more accessible all the technology is now. In 1968, we put a man on the moon with technology that was not as advanced as my watch. This has more processing power than we used to put a man on the moon. And this isn't even a new one. This is a 7.
Did we though? Just kidding.
I'm saying this is a 7 because I'm hoping that they're listening and somebody's gonna send me an ad for whatever the new one is. But anyway, uh, this okay, that's adorable. Did y'all see that too? Okay, good. Oh, zoomies.
Jessica, you okay over there? Because he's barreling himself at you.
I cracked up because he does these things sometimes. I'm sorry.
Is he leading with his mouth?
Is he what?
Does he lead when he jumps like that? Does he lead with
No,
his mouth?
well,
Okay.
luckily he stopped doing that.
Okay. Because I remember when mine did that, and I was like, that could be painful.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we have gone through all of the stuff that we need to go through today. I know some of you guys had a couple of questions about midterm stuff, and I'll stick around to answer those. Um, Again, the Debroy thing I think is absolutely the coolest thing to me about that was not the fact that he did it, and that could go down that rabbit hole that we went down today. The fact that you could actually trace from birth to, you know, speech. And then not only could you hear it, you could see it. And that visual piece, especially with a group of fine arts teachers and just some generally super cool other teachers in here, you can see that visual representation is huge. Um, when I was writing my dissertation, my professor said, you know, a picture will say so much more than your words. So if you can give me a good visual of something, a diagram or chart or whatever, that's a lot more meaningful than whatever you have to say about it. And that visual that Deb Roy gave, I mean, that's really powerful because you can look at it and whether you understand what each line means or not, you can see the trend of what each of those things meant. And that's really all it was trying to do was get that point across. So very cool stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Um, and let's see. The midterm by the 14th, if it's not done yet. And I've gone through all the material I need to go through today. If you need to hang up, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Um, and anyway, I'll stay on and answer. I know Seth had a question. If anybody else has a question, I'm going to stick around for you, okay? All right, have a
Do
good
you
one.
want me to do you want me to type mine out, or do you want to just read the question that I had a question about?
Um, Either way.
Okay.
Um,
So I'll just read it. It said to prepare for his test on Tuesday morning, Harvey studied on Monday night. He remembered the information long enough to do well on the test on Tuesday, but could not remember it for a surprise quiz a week later. Based on this information, how far in Harvey's memory system did the information get? And the options were sensory, working, it reached working. That one was there twice for some reason, and then it never got into memory system at all. And so I selected that it reached working memory, but the correct um, the correct answer was not that.
well, it didn't get into his working memory because he didn't have it later. Um,
Actually, I
well,
think I typed that. I think I got that wrong. Hang on. Let me pull it up from a different place because now my email that I sent to you all of a sudden doesn't look like it makes sense at all.
All